One thing about being a guy in this position is that you notice everything. You start to pick up on patterns and people's behavior, and you start to see things happen before they even happen and as they unfold. Like, you notice when somebody raises their voice, they raise their tone, you know something bad's about to happen. Like, let's say your dad and your brother are getting into it or something like that, and then you just hear your dad raises his tone to a certain level that you know that a physical confrontation is going to take place. It's like little patterns you pick up, or you notice every time you come around this girl, she gets up and she walks away, or she gets up and she frowns at you, and you notice that, and another popular thing for guys like us in this position is when you go to the cashier at the grocery store, at any type of social place you have to be at. You notice the girl is probably a cute girl, bubbly and happy, taking people's tickets or taking their orders. And then when she comes to you, her whole energy shifts. Like, you can feel the energy in the whole room just shifts. It's like they know there's something wrong with you. And I wonder, are those people strategically placed there by the archons and by the demiurge to make our lives a living hell? So let's say one day, you're at the beach or something like that. You're like, damn, you're thirsty. You got some money on you, so you want to go get you a smoothie or a milkshake or something like that. You go down to the place or you get some ice cream or whatever, and then the demiurge can put somebody there, knowing that you was going to go to the beach that day. The demiurge can put somebody there that's going to try to cause an issue with you and try to loose you. So you go there, and you ask for your ice cream, and maybe your flavor's out. And it's like, okay, whatever. And then it's like, okay, at first you may try to play with card, like you may try to pay with card, and your card gets declined. And then I got to get your cash out. And then you drop your money on the floor. Then you got to pick it back up, and then you finally pay for it. And it's not even the ice cream that you want. And it's just And then the person's kind of rude towards you, so it kind of sours the whole mood. And it's like, wow, I think the demiurge. I think there's people in our lives strategically placed to do things like that, strategically placed in our lives to loose us. And I think certain events that happen in our lives are orchestrated and coordinated by these evil beings and entities that hide in another dimension so they can loose farm us like humans farm cattle for our negative energetic manifestational frequency. And the reason why is because you can see the perpetual cycle. Everything I'm saying, you can see in your own life. You can see the events happening right now. Oh, the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to talk negotiations. Oh, there's no negotiations. Oh, they launched an attack. Oh, they didn't launch an attack. It's always back and forth. There's always a cycle that's always keeping up the anxiety. That's purposely making sure that humans stay on the edge. There's something that benefits from us staying on the edge, from us being in this position of powerlessness, like feeling like we have no power and actually not really having any power like that. The power of the modern day American is to wake up, go to work, and pay bills. And only a few Americans can enjoy the economic excess that used to be prominent back in the days for a lot more Americans. Poverty and poor people you will never get rid of. Even the Bible says that. Even the Bible says that there will always be poor people or people in poverty positions. And that should tell you something about the God of the Bible. Why would a God of the Bible want people poor? What benefits does a loving, caring God get from somebody being in poverty? What benefits does that God get? You got to ask yourself this question. This is a real question. If the God of the Bible is not the demiurge and he's not loose farming us and he's a loving, caring father, then how does it benefit him having poor people and people having horrible, terrible lives? What sense does that make? What sense does it make to worship a God when you have a terrible, horrible life? And it makes no sense. That this is a loving, caring being. Why would he not create perfection the first time? You can blame the devil for so much, but who created the devil? It's like you talk about the devil, but yet you worship the father of the devil. Wouldn't the father of the devil be even more evil? Even in the Bible, this God says, I am the Lord, I control the light and I control the dark. And then there's passages like in the Bible where it says, and the Lord sent an evil spirit to Saul. So this God can send evil spirits like a mob, like a mob father, like a godfather from the mafia can send a hitman, can send Iceman to ice somebody. It's crazy. Like, this is like a spiritual gangster. This is a spiritual Stalin. This is a celestial Stalin. It's appalling that we have to live in this position, man, And a lot of us over time, we start to notice things in life. We start to notice that the more we prayed, the more we paid our tithes, the more we went to church, the worse our lives got. And then people that never went to church at all, people that never prayed at all, they become multimillionaires. Their YouTube channel takes off. They get all the success and all the acolytes that come with being successful. They get the money, the cars, the girls, and everything you could only imagine. And they never prayed, they never went to church. And some of these people are assholes. Some of these people are the most evil, sick, twisted people you can ever imagine, yet they're successful. Yet they're not in a position where they have to bow to people, where they have to, bow their head everywhere they go, where everywhere they go, they got to walk on eggshells, not to, make somebody else, mad, and always got to make somebody else happy instead of making themselves happy. Like, that's tiring and that's draining. And I think that this world is purposely designed to lose us. It's designed to create negative events, negative moments, and put us around negative people. And so we can always be in these low vibrational frequencies. So it doesn't matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter how hard it doesn't matter how talented you are. If the God of this world doesn't want you to make it, he'll put obstacles upon obstacles and he'll make it impossible for you to make it. You can be the greatest rapper in the world, but you'll upload and nobody cares. Like, nobody wants to hear your music. It doesn't really go anywhere, right? And then you could be somebody doing a crazy TikTok dance and then not even trying to make it in music. And then boom, that song takes off. It gets tens of millions of views. You get all these ads. You get all this. You get all this type of opportunities coming your way, and you get all this money and success. And it's just like, this is an upside down world. The world rewards evil and it punishes the good. How is that how is that the reflection of a good, loving God? The creation and implementation and integration of creation itself is the reflection of the God itself. So if this world's an evil, fallen world of despots and evil maniacs, then that reflects the God of the Bible. The God of the Bible said, I'm a jealous God. You will have no other gods before me. Jealousy is a low vibrational frequency. That's not a vibrational frequency of a high being that's almighty. That's the vibrational frequency of the demiurge from Gnosticism. The Gnostic text talks about this. It talks about this being a false God. He's not the real God. He stole the divine spark, stole the divine light, and he's terrified that the divine sparks are going to wake up, realize their power, realize their potential, and then stop waking up and going to a 9 to 5 every day, and then turn to beings of pure light, and then crash through this whole dimension and go back to the pleroma, or having the possibility of creating your own worlds and dimensions and being your own God and creating your own creatures, creating your own heavens, creating your own planets. There's a reason why humans, out of all creatures of creation, have the natural propensity and the natural inclination to create. There's a reason why they turn everybody into consumers nowadays, because a consumer doesn't really create. A consumer consumes. Very few people out there are artists. Very few people make music. It seems saturated, because, that's just the way, because like a lot of people who make music are not even rappers or musicians. They're just trying to chase clout. So it can seem saturated. But in real life, very few people actually get to make music for a living, or get to paint pictures for a living, or get to do what they love for a living, make beats, or write books or whatever it is that's creative. Like, very few people get to do that for a living full time. That's like a rare, I'm not going to use the word blessing, but it's like a rare privilege that the demiurge gives to some that he doesn't deem serious threats, or just people that he utilizes to make others jealous. Like, how do you not know that the demiurge made this one TikTok person blow up and become successful just for the sole purpose of making you jealous, so that way he can feed off your negative energy vibrational frequency? That person's not even a real person, doesn't even have a soul. It's a hylic, it's an NPC. It may be rich and famous and all that, but you're the one with the divine spark, and you're the one that the demiurge put that person in front of to make jealous, so he can loosh off of you from this low vibrational frequency. Like, this world is deep and it's complex. There's all types of spiritual mechanisms and integrations and all types of systems of oppression to make sure that the human soul cannot create and innovate. There's a reason why most of our time is focused on things that we don't want to do. Every day you wake up and go to a 9 to 5 that you probably don't like, and you're probably forced to be. You'll never be a millionaire. You'll never have like the nice, good things in life. And vacations is like a luxury, right? Even finding a job right now is like a luxury, because a lot of these companies don't want to be hiring. They're replacing everybody with artificial intelligence. People don't have no place to go. People are losing their minds. It's just horrible out there, man. And it's going to get worse. And when you're a person in this position, you start to pick up and notice all this. You start to notice that You live in a hell realm because you start to see, like one thing about going through a lot of pain in life is like you have a low tolerance for bull crap. And a lot of us, they say that we're autistic, so we can pick up on when people are lying, when people are telling the truth. Like we can pick up on energies around us. Like we know when people want us around, when they don't want us around. There's like a lot of human communication is visual as well as audio. Like people can give you visual cues that they don't want to be bothered with you. Like all of a sudden, like, you walk into a room, then people put their head down and start looking into their phone. That's a visual cue saying that I don't want to talk. Their attention is focused on their phone, meaning that they're not susceptible for approach. It's like little signs that you have to pick up on. And when you're autistic or when you have mental deficiencies or other types of neurological disorders, you tend to pick up on small things that normies miss because their minds are cultivated and calibrated in a different way, in a different aspect, in a different manner. you know, what would I do to have all my financial problems healed and just be proficient and effective at being successful? And the things that I want to be successful in, man, this is a really brutal life. It shows no mercy. It's designed to make you feel worthless. And even if you feel like you have a purpose, it's really hard, when you've been putting a lot of work into something for years, when you've been wishing and hoping and praying and doing all that and paying your tithes and going to church, and the thing that you want never happened. And then you see somebody else who didn't have to do any of that, boom, just rise to the top, and it makes you feel a certain way. Like earlier I was watching this one girl, like she does ASMR, right? And, sometimes, I like to watch ASMR, and, take a little bowl hit or whatever, watch ASMR. So that's what I was doing. And I was watching this one girl that I like. Well, I actually just found her channel, and she was pretty cool. And she was showing when she was baking a cake or whatever. She was talking about how, like, she doesn't really like store bought cakes because all the chemicals and stuff. So she likes to bake like her own cake or whatever. And so she was baking this cake, and then like she was like making like whispering ASMR and all that. So it was kind of cool. And then all of a sudden she mentioned, she's like, "Oh yeah, and I also like baking cheesecake because my partner, he loves cheesecake, and I love baking it for him, and this, that, and this." And I'm just like, as soon as she mentioned that, like she had a boyfriend and like she like baked him cheesecake, I immediately got envious. You know what I mean? Like, and it was one of those envies that I know that's not really who I truly am, but that's just like when you're down bad for a long time and you have psychological issues and you've been through a lot of rejection and a lot of dejection, and you have such a negative, like you have a negative emotional fluctuations periodically, or a lot, or every day, frequently, but like it comes from a place of destitution. It doesn't come from a place of abundance. It comes from a place where your emotions are downtrodden, where your emotions are broken, right? So when she said that she had a boyfriend and she like baked him cheesecake and all that for like his birthday and stuff, and when he wants it, it it reminded me of how something that I wish I would have. I wish I would have a girl that would bake me a cheesecake or whatever, right? For my birthday, and show me love and show me affection. Because a lot of us in this position, a lot of us are touch starved. We're touch starved, sex starved, and emotionally scarred. I'll say that again. A lot of us were touch starved, sex starved, and emotionally scarred, right? And these scars run deep to the point they affect your actions and they affect your behavior. A lot of people don't understand the weight that we carry. Like it's very hard to be somebody in this position and not snap and not break, especially when the whole world's against you, especially when hell, sometimes your own mind's against you. And when you don't have any family left, when you're by yourself in this world truly and you have nothing, and the world gets harder, the world gets colder, the world gets darker, it creates this fundamental and essential negative void. And it's like this shadow void of corruption and seduction. And it takes out all the joy inside your heart. It takes out all the joy inside your mind. It takes out your motivation to do anything. Like when you go years without having your emotional needs met and regulated, it does something to your soul. It does something to your spirit. Your soul and your spirit eventually is gonna be hurt. It's gonna break down. Because it's not normal. Like, this is not a normal position a lot of us are in. I wish that I can just summon. I wish I could do a magic spell and summon about $2 million, because $2 million would help me. Just 2 million in cash in a suitcase, right? Like, I think that's enough to get my life really started. $2 million. Like, that's enough to get my life started. But even though that's a lot of money, it's still not enough to last you like 100 years, right? You know, and it's crazy because in 10 years from now, the inflation is going to be even more crazier than what it is now. If we even have a nation in 10 years, like, we don't know what can happen within the next decade. There can be civil war. There can be a zombie apocalypse. It can be nuclear proliferation and eradication and neutralization. There can be all types of situations that can happen. It's it's absolutely brutal when you really think about it. When you really hyper focus and fixate on the situation, it's like, is this what humanity was bred for? Was humanity only bred for war, poverty, and devastation, and negative energetic manifestational frequency harvesting? Like, having your loose energy drained because you're put in these different situations that you cannot avoid, it gets tiring. It's like this world is created just to devastate you. It's created just to hurt you. It's like the ancient Gnostics spoke about this. They spoke about how this is a hell world, and the God of this world loves feeding off of our negative energy. So he puts us and he pins us against each other. That's why there's constant wars. There was wars since the days of Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun. And there's been wars ever since before then, and and war has never ceased. There has to be a reason why war on this planet has never stopped. There must be some beings that feed off this negative energy from a different dimension, because it's being orchestrated, implemented, and integrated into human sociality and human society as a whole. Like, people think war is just a normal form of human bonding, damn near. It's like, no, this is evil. Like, how can you not see this as a hell? Imagine this then. Picture this. Picture you're an almighty God somewhere. Let's say you're a God and you never know pain. Say you're a God, you never know pain. And one day, a bright explosion happens. You're like, what the heck? And you get sucked into another dimension. And the next thing you know, you're brought to this realm and you got your mind wiped, and and you think you're some human that's 19 years old working at McDonald's, and people are calling you a loser and a failure. But a couple of dimensions ago, you were your own God with your own sovereignty, with your own power to create and do what you want. And now you're forced into another God's dimensions, and you're in his video game with his way of things and codes and structures, and you got to survive in that. You see how powerless you are. You're in somebody else's video game, and yet you want to try to beat them at their own game. It's pretty difficult. This is why I wish we had a lot more help spiritually, right? Like, I wish there were other gods out there that can seriously help us and really put us in a position to win. Because whoever created this world with the sole intent of causing as much pain, misery, and torment as possible. That's what I see with my own eyes. That's what I see with my observation of living as long as I lived. Is the object of this world is to cause pain. Are there some good moments you can be happy with? Sure. But the bad moments always outweigh the good. Right? Because the good is there. It's like you're underwater and you're running out of air, and you find an air pocket and you're like, and you get your rest, and then boom, you got to go back in that water. But also the water got a giant squid, got a polar bear in the water swimming for you. You got sharks, you got leopard seals, you got all type of monsters in there in the depths with you, and you got to swim through the dark waters and try to find another air pocket. Like, that's how life feels like, man. Like, it just feels like it's just eternal torment. It's sickening, really, when you think about it. It's very sickening, because a world like this, if the God of this world had good intentions, this could have been a good world. This could have been a good realm. This could have been a place where we all could have been happy. We all could have had beautiful wives, beautiful houses, nice cars, wealthy, powerful, in positions of prominence and dominance with accomplishments. Like this could have been a good world, and the fact that it could have been a good world and it's not a good world, it just goes to show you, man, that whoever or whatever created this, it had ill intentions, and it wanted to make sure that we suffered as much as possible and that we never really achieved full, true spiritual greatness, and that's absolutely brutal.